All right, let's get straight into it. We're going to talk about one of the most confusing financial products out there, savings-type life insurance. We're going to peel back the layers and see how something sold as security can actually become a trap for the very people trying to do the right thing.
Now, just let that sink in for a moment. It's a really powerful statement, and it feels backwards, right? You'd think the people who are super responsible and plan ahead would be the ones that benefit. But as we're about to see, the way this product is built often ends up punishing that exact kind of forward thinking.
So, this is the big question, the mystery we're going to solve today. To get to the bottom of it, we have to look at where this thing came from, how it really works under the hood, and the psychology that makes it so sticky. To really understand why it's a problem now, we have to go back in time. You see, this product wasn't born bad. It actually made a whole lot of sense in a very, very different world. Let's look at how something with good intentions can turn into a modern-day money trap. It actually started way back in 19th century Europe. It was basically a way to force yourself to save when banks weren't at every corner. Then, it had its heyday in Japan during that crazy high-growth period in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But the most important part of this timeline, the part you really need to focus on, is that last one. Today, it's just structurally a bad deal.
And this slide just lays it all out, plain and simple. Back then, you had sky-high interest rates, a job for life was the norm, and you didn't have a million investment choices. So yeah, bundling your savings with insurance, it made sense. But today, we're in a completely different universe. Interest rates are practically zero, people change jobs all the time, and we've got a ton of better, more flexible financial tools. The world this product was built for just doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, now for the really juicy part. It's time to crack open this black box and see what's actually ticking on the inside from the company's point of view. This is where it gets really eye-opening. So here's the absolute key. You might call it savings, but you know what the insurance company calls it? They see it as a way to get a massive super long-term loan from you. Think about that. You're the one lending them money, but if you want your own money back early, you're the one who gets hit with a huge penalty. It's wild. And here's the first number that might make your jaw drop. For the first few years you're paying into this thing, a whopping 20 to 40% of your money just vanishes. It doesn't go to your savings or even your insurance. So where on earth does it go?
Well, this chart tells the whole story. Look at that massive chunk right there. That's sales commissions and fees. That's the cost of selling you the product. The actual part that covers your insurance risk, it's pretty small. And the piece that goes to your savings, at the beginning, it's that tiny, tiny sliver.
And this right here? This is the secret sauce. This is how the company makes its money. They take all that cash from you and they invest it in bonds, real estate, you name it, and they earn a decent return, maybe 3 or 4%. But the rate they promise to give you, it's usually crawling along at about 1%. That gap, that's their entire business model. Okay, let's make this super real. Let's say you sign up for a pretty standard plan, something like 30,000 yen a month. That's a serious commitment. So, over the first year, you've diligently paid in 360,000 yen. You're doing the responsible thing.
But then, life happens. Maybe there's a medical emergency, or you lose your job. You suddenly need to get that money back, and you decide to cancel in that first year or two. What happens next?
This is where it gets brutal. You're probably only going to see a fraction of what you put in. A 75% loss is pretty typical, and that is just a devastating kick in the gut for someone who is just trying to plan for their future. This isn't because the company is evil, it's just the built-in result of that cost structure. The salesperson's commission was already paid, and it was paid with your money. So if the numbers are this clearly bad, why on earth do so many smart, careful people not only buy these things, but stick with them for years? Well, the answer isn't in the math. It's in our heads. It's all about psychology. It's a classic case of what you're told versus what's actually going on. The sales pitch is all about feelings, peace of mind, security, taking care of your family. But the hard numbers, the stuff you need to make a truly informed decision, like the real rate of return, the fact that it could take 10 or 20 years just to break even, and those massive penalties, all of that is often buried in the fine print. And once you're in, man, it is designed to keep you there. You get caught in the sunk cost fallacy, telling yourself, I've already paid so much, I can't stop now. Nobody wants to admit they made a mistake and take a loss. Plus, you might really like the salesperson. And to top it all off, the actual process of canceling is often made incredibly difficult. It's a feature, not a bug. And a big reason this is all possible is this weird legal loophole. Even though these products act a lot like an investment, they're regulated as insurance.
It's like selling a vehicle that's part car and part boat, but you only have to meet the safety standards for boats. The car part of it could be totally unsafe, but hey, it's technically legal.
So what do? How do you avoid this trap? Well, the solution is actually beautifully simple. It's not about trying to find a better version of this broken product. It's about completely changing your approach.
It all boils down to this: one task, one tool. Insurance has one job and one job only: to cover a massive, unlikely risk for a small price. That's what term life insurance is for. In savings and investments, they have a totally different job: to grow your money, to be accessible, and to give you a good return. Think about things like NISA or IDECO.
This is it. This is the most important sentence of this entire explainer. When you try to mash these two completely different jobs into one product, you don't get the best of both worlds. You get a bad version of both. You get expensive insurance and you get terrible, inflexible savings.
And that really brings us right back to the beginning. This isn't really about evil companies trying to rip you off. It's something much more subtle and honestly much more fascinating. It's a perfectly engineered system that takes the logic from a world that no longer exists and uses it to prey on our very real, modern-day financial fears.
So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. Take a look at your own finances through this new lens. Ask yourself, which of my financial tools is doing one single job and doing it well? And which ones are maybe a messy, expensive combination that's actually holding me back?